Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Fort Collins Book Fest 5-year celebration. I'll be your MC tonight. My name is Matt Stillwell. I'm English faculty at Front Range Community College, and I'm looking forward to tonight's session, Poetry to the Ears. So today, we're celebrating our first 5 years of the Fort Collins Book Festival, which has been a celebration of books, brews, writings and riffs, food and thought, big science, and the great outdoors. As always, we are also celebrating the importance of literature, writing, books, and of course, our libraries. I want to encourage everyone out there to check out the virtual program at www.focobookfest.org. We have book talks, discussions, panels, prose, and poetry readings over these next 2 weekends, all provided free by our sponsors. So make sure you attend as many of our offerings as you can and spread the word to friends, family, and acquaintances. Before we get to our first session, I'd like to thank our sponsors. This festival could not happen without our generous sponsors. They make this book festival completely free, and you can check out the entire list of sponsors at the end of this particular session. Today's event is produced by Poudre River Public Library District in partnership with the CSU Morgan Library. Our presenting sponsor is the City of Fort Collins Fort Fund, and further support has been provided by Friends of the Poudre Library District, Friends of Morgan Library, Lila B. Morgan Endowment Fund, Downtown Development Authority, Liggett, Johnson and Goodman PC, Front Range Community College, Downtown Fort Collins Creative District, and Old Firehouse Books. In addition, our media partners, KUNC and 105.5, the Colorado Sound. We'd like to give special thanks to the Northern Colorado Writers for presenting all 4 of our writers' workshops, and FOCO MA for sponsoring our musicians today. So join me virtually in thanking all of our sponsors. And thank you so much for supporting our 5th annual FOCO Book Festival. I can feel you out there. In this session, Music to the Ears, we matched up our favorite poets with some of our local musicians to create poetry as music to the ears. We will be following these performances with a Q&A with all of our poets. So stay tuned for that, and we'll be taking questions in the chat. I'd like to begin with our first pairing, Juan Morales and Brian Schneider. Juan J. Morales is the son of an Ecuadorian mother and Puerto Rican father, which inspired many of the poems in his poetry collections. He is also the author of The Handyman's Guide to End Times, winner of the 2019 International Latino Book Award. His poems have also recently appeared in Pleiades, Copper Nickel, Hank, The Laurel Review, the anthologies Dear America, and Breakbeats Volume 4, Latinx, and forthcoming in Acentos Review and Salamander. He is a Canto Mundo Fellow, a Macondo Fellow, the editor of Pilgrimage Magazine, and the chair of English and World Languages at Colorado State University, Pueblo. Juan will be working with Brian Schneider this evening, who is the musician and composer. He's a 13-year-old guitarist who loves performing fast, intricate metal solos. Influenced by modern metal bands like Black Veil Brides and classic bands like Metallica, Brian brings intense energy to his shows and gets the audience moving and screaming. Brian was nominated for Fort Collins Musicians Association's 2020 Peer Award in the Young Musicians category. He plays guitar for several Polaris School rock bands, as well as for the School of Rock. He also formed the metal band AF2 with drummer Parker Goshi. Brian has performed as part of FOCO MX and at awesome venues like Washington's, the Swing Station, the Hilton, and the Lagoon concert series. Please join me in enjoying this upcoming video of Juan and Bran. Doug?
Greetings from Pueblo, Colorado. My name is Juan J. Morales. I'm a poet, and I'm also a professor in the Department Chair of English and World Languages at Colorado State University, Pueblo. And I am pleased and honored to join you virtually for the Fort Collins Book Fest. And I'm going to share some poems with you, and many of them will be coming from The Handyman's Guide to End Times, which is a collection of zombie home improvement love poetry. And my first poem is going to be called My First Zombie. My first zombie. Every night, it wanders up the dirt road winding above my old hometown. My family is inside with my sick mother, who rests in a bed in a strange new house. I wait in the garage with a machete, like the one my father gave me when I turned 18. In the driveway, the skeletal corpse claws forward, singing out its appetite. I meet it with the simple rule of lose the head and it's dead with one surprising swing. Ligaments severed, no blood, and body separates. I relax until head reattaches and the zombie rises to attack again. I repeat the ritual of decapitation too many times, and the head always reattaches. The last time, trembling, I pick up the head that's staring, breathing, biting air. I feel its absent soul. I cradle the heavy head, bringing it away from my family into the eternal woods, and lose myself in the pounding heart that throttles dream. I'm always waking up a grown man, turning on every house light, opening every door, and startling my mother with phone calls about wicked weather and lurking questions about remission, examinations, and her old lamp with an orange shade that she does not remember as well as I do. And a little appropriate timing there, the car passing by, so good time to pause between poems and transition. We always appreciate the witty banter that a poet will provide you between poems. So the next poem I'm going to read is, I'm going to dedicate it to the children. And it's called Explaining Seafood to My Future Grandkids After the Extinction. I will describe, like a murder, how we used to rip open juicy bodies and clacking claws of lobsters and crabs to feast on warm meat inside. I will smack my lips describing how we seared tiny ones with red tails called shrimp in butter, garlic, and batter. I will contaminate the moment by describing cocktail and tartar sauce as red or white. I will explain the ocean, how it was filled with snake-like wonders called eels that were bendable monsters made only of arms and fish, who swam in nimble clouds up and then down to the depths where deep-sea creatures created their own light, in a time when the sea was not stung full of jellyfish and swirling garbage, and we swam with the taste of salt pressed to our lips. So this next poem was written based on some past experiences working with a colleague of mine at Colorado College by the name of Dr. Stephen Hayward. We used to teach creative writing to ICE detainees, and I never learned Spanish as a child, and so I've been learning as an adult, and I'm proficient now. But when we were teaching these creative writing lessons in the El Paso County Jail, we had to kind of use the dictionary to go back and forth and to teach. This poem is called Perfume, and it's dedicated to Steve Hayward. When the inmate answers with perfume, I assume he misses the heavy beauty of a specific woman he lost, bathed in her subtle scent, a delicate droplet. I translate it wrong, but he is patient to point out the correct word in the Spanish-English dictionary. Not perfume, cologne. We negotiate the mislaid words between us. We write in the D-block lounge about how he misses the bottles of cologne that lined his bathroom window, how he shaved and then smiled in the struggle to pick the right essence for the day. He's soft-spoken, but tells me the inside is absent of smell. He would accept the bad ones over nothing. When we finish our session, he returns to his cell, and I am left with the spare poem by an accused killer, charges that hang over me like a mist. So, in the spirit of Hispanic Heritage Month, I think it'll be a little past Hispanic Heritage Month when the book fest is going on, but for some of us, Hispanic Heritage Month is pretty ongoing, and this is in the spirit of language acquisition. Shout out to my Duolingo streak of 850 something days. To dream in Spanish. Practice as an adult with phone calls to mama y papa. Volunteer to teach ICE detainees in the jail every Tuesday. You finally take trips to the motherland and the fatherland as a tourist, ironically surrounded by family. Describe your life back in America with sentences as simple as charades laced with off-target syntax and cognates. Give yourself credits when people ask if you speak it. Don't worry about your white boy accent. Say yes instead of the long answer about not being raised on Spanish and how you heard your parents talking it like secrets. It's okay to fry your brain, code switching each day in a country that is not yours. You won't catch every phrase. Let go. Fall into dreams, in sueños, heavy as rivers overflowing with accents and tildes, when you forget you don't speak Spanish, only for the night. So here in Pueblo, Colorado, we're great. We're very lucky that we can go outside and, with proper distancing and safety and still get some fresh air. But obviously with the pandemic going on and before then, there's always these imaginations and speculations about what the end times would look like. And so this is a poem that kind of covers what Handyman, well, that's what the poem is called. Handyman imagines the Battle of Pueblo. When everyone has turned to biting each other, to emptying every grocery store in town, and to sieging out the end times, we don't know why we did leave for the mountains in our eye shots. Our feet got dirty enough in vacant lots and beat up streets with road cones coaxing us to leave this rest stop town. The heat challenged our souls to keep it together. Hopeful for afternoon rains to nourish gardens hidden in Bessemer backyards. We used to feast at Eastside taquerias on one-way streets. We used to bike through the avenues to slip downtown through alleys graffiti fresh, finding our way to where the river paralleled limestone barrens and levee murals for local gods that once stretched into sunset. We want the mill to spew yawns all night, coal trains to whistle, crash of train cars loading again. So we fortify and clear out the dead to make this town home again. So for my next poem, how are we doing on time? Oh, we're doing pretty good. So this is gonna be my last poem from the Handyman's Guide to End Times, and then I'll end with like maybe 2 new ones or something like that. You all doing okay? Hanging in there? Okay. Got to stretch, move around a little bit. That's okay. So this final poem from Handyman's Guide to End Times is called Z Harmony. When you're undead, the compatibility parameters expand. You're caught in the rot of your own bag of skin with 1 ravenous mouth and 2 down. You now mask with others like you and no longer worry about first date jitters, ordering a dish with garlic, how long to wait before you text or call, or narrowing the field one nervous coffee at a time. If only old instincts could fire up brain cells again. I'm gonna pause for a second. Okay, the dog's done barking. If only old instincts could fire up brain cells again to yearn for the one who could fall for your unique bite wounds and scratches, or look past the dab of victim on your face that defines the new you. The one in a staggered gait missing a shoe. You were once the guy she could teach to use chopsticks, who always opened the door or offered the crook of your arm during a walk, who could follow her to a favorite clearing with a blanket to watch for falling stars. But now, love starts by sharing screaming flesh captured in chase, playing it hungry, almost confident. You don't have to worry anymore about her getting tired of your jokes when you moan out to your undead match, the one to share harmonious wanderings toward brain binges, the one you wouldn't have found unless you died first. In the herd, you've adapted together, even if you cannot tell her how divine she looks tonight, or how somehow, in her tattered, reanimated body, she glides. Okay, so I have 2 more poems. And so during COVID-19 and in this pandemic, I've been writing a lot of dream poems, and some of them my father has been visiting. After the medium told me a strange bird would visit me, I obsessed over every always dogfighting with the hawks. Every bird reminded me of avian populations. Is the bird you are looking for, before flying out of dream and waking me.
Hey everybody, it's Matt again. I apologize for the technical difficulties. We're going to be working on that issue right now, resolving the problem. But I hope you're enjoying what you're hearing so far. And that's our first taste of these collaborations of poetry and music that we're going to continue to hear moving forward. So please be thinking of some questions that you would like to ask of our panelists in this particular session. And we hope to get you back to the poetry and the music momentarily. But while we're waiting, I want to remind everyone of our sponsors for this evening. Today's event is produced by the Poudre River Public Library District and in partnership with the CSU Morgan Library. Our presenting sponsor is the City of Fort Collins Fort Fund, with further support being provided by Friends of the Poudre Library District, Friends of Morgan Library, Lila B. Morgan Endowment Fund, Downtown Development Authority, Liggett, Johnson, and Goodman PC, Front Range Community College, Downtown Fort Collins Creative District, and Old Firehouse Books. Our media partners are KUNC and 105.5, the Colorado Sound. We'd like to give a special thanks to Northern Colorado Writers for presenting all 4 of our writers' workshops, and FOCO MA for sponsoring our musicians today. So thank you all for joining us and helping us celebrate 5 years of Fort Collins Book Fest. We have over 20 sessions and workshops, panel discussions. There's going to be an interview with the legendary Judy Collins that I know you will not want to miss. So please go to www.focobookfest.org and check out our lineup of sessions both this weekend and next weekend. We are also we're meeting the bison from Soapstone, which sounds like something I'll have to check out in the sessions in these next 2 weekends. Oh, climbing 14ers. So there are all kinds of sessions based on Fort Collins, based on Colorado culture, and as we mentioned earlier, with previous book fests, the focus has certainly been beer, and I know we have at least one session with a beer tasting this year, and it's an ode to Colorado beer. So please keep joining us for our sessions. Tell your family, tell your friends, spread it around your own social media circles. And we're also having a session on resiliency with Jim Davidson and The Ledge next Sunday. So please tune in for that. I will also be having a conversation with Autumn Bernhardt, who is the Poet Laureate of Fort Collins, next Sunday from noon to 1. And that is going to prove to be an awesome conversation you might want to check in on. If people want, or if folks want to purchase the books of our authors and poets from the Book Fest this year, please go to Old Firehouse Books. They will have all of our current books on sale at that location. And I believe we're going back to Juan's video. Doug? And please remember that you can plan your entire experience at focobookfest.org. And we certainly appreciate your patience this evening. It's a Friday night and the festival is free and open, just like the library. So please, thank you, and thank you for supporting Fort Collins libraries, as libraries are so important to our community, and the collaboration between the Poudre Library, the Poudre River Library District, and the CSU Morgan Library is such a nice community of, or a nice example of community collaboration between the university and the libraries, the city libraries.
This pandemic, I've been writing a lot of dream poems, and some of them my father has been visiting me. So I'm going to read one of those, and then just a random dream poem to kind of close out our time together. This one's called "Dream of the Bird Tattoo." After the medium told me a strange bird would visit me, I obsessed over every sparrow and finch in our yard, including one that would sit outside the kitchen window, head tilted in curiosity. The yellow prairie wobbler chased moths around the neighbor's red maple. I counted Mississippi kites whistling and circling high above, green hummingbirds flitting through to nourish on our succulents, and crows always dogfighting with the hawks. Every bird reminded me of avian populations in decline, but they ignored my need for personal prophecy. A few nights later, when I closed my eyes, my deceased father stood before me with his face obscured. His shoulder tattoo of La Golondrina stirred. Then, the swallow climbed off his shoulder as a green phoenix made of neon light. It shook its wings and told me, "This is the bird you are looking for," before flying out of dream and waking me just like sunrise. Okay. This is my last poem. It's a dream poem, and I want to thank you all for your time, energy, and attention, and I hope the rest of the Fort Collins Book Fest treats you well. This one's called Actualization Principle. At Lago Muerte, the fishermen calmly cast out their lines, reeling in very tiny fish. I felt out of place because I forgot my pole. When I looked closer, the lake was an empty plain filled with dried logs and rocks. I could barely make out the line where the waves once lapped. One of the fishermen turned to me. "This is an impossible feeling," he said as he tugged another glistening one out of the lake. The fish tried to breathe and stared past me. "Everything is nonsense, but you can't help but feel lucky." He resumed fishing. Afraid of being hooked by one of them, I backed up. I started telling him about the time I hooked my thumb, but they stopped me because I had already told them. Okay, thanks so much. I hope you take care. See you soon.
One.
Well, what a wonderful collaboration. Thank you, Juan and Bran. And as I said before, this is just the very beginning of 2 more opportunities to see poets and musicians working together. Our next pairing is Camille Dungy and Greth Ligon. Poetry. Most recently, Trophic Cascade, winner of the Colorado Book Award, and the essay collection, Guidebook to Relative Strangers, Journeys into Race, Motherhood, and History, a finalist for the National Book Critics Circle Award. Dungy has also edited anthologies, including Black Nature, 4 Centuries of African American Nature Poetry, and From the Fish House, an anthology of poems that sing, rhyme, resound, syncopate, alliterate, and just plain sound great. A 2019 Guggenheim Fellow, her honors include NEA Fellowships in Poetry, 2003, and Prose, 2018, an American Book Award, 2 NAACP Image Award nominations, and 2 Hurston Wright Legacy Award nominations. Dungy's poems have been published in Best American Poetry, the 100 Best African American Poems, the Pushcart Anthology, Best American Travel Writing, and over 30 other anthologies. She is University Distinguished Professor at Colorado State University. Greth Ligon is a Colorado-based composer and music producer. He has written music for a few feature films and many short films, as well as commercials and various other media. He currently resides in Loveland and works from his home studio. Please enjoy this next selection of poetry and music. Doug?
Hello, Fort Collins Book Festival. I so wish that we were gathered in person, but I am grateful to live in a time when we have technology that allows us to gather together in some way. And so I'm really excited to see where this collaboration between writers and musicians and artists and tech takes us in this 2020 Fort Collins Book Festival. So thank you to everybody who's taken the time to be here watching and sharing this experience with all of us. Since I'm speaking of collaborations, I thought I would actually start with a couple new poems that I've created over the last year that have ended up working in collaboration with some visual artists in what I think are some pretty exciting ways. And so this first, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this. This first ends up being a broadside in a journal called Poetry Northwest. And I just feel like this artwork is a pretty glorious collaboration with my poem. Ceremony. No one can fly down to bury his aunt. The sickness is already there. That's what took her. And anyway, we are stuck at home. The moon swelled, then emptied into its shadow. We learned this week the black singer died. Days later, the white one. A man in the neighborhood, young father of 4. Lifted over the sink, our child stood on the ledge and cleaned the kitchen windows. It is bright outside most days. Grass is greening up the yard. An uncle died. Another aunt was taken to the hospital. The moon swells again. This feels like the early days of parenthood. We swap watch, focus on raising the child. We've seen times like this before, we say. Also, these times are like nothing we have ever seen. When I came downstairs today for breakfast, he was playing Lovely Day, a song we danced to at our wedding. We danced there in the kitchen, all of us, howling those high and happy days. Lovely day, we sang. Lovely day. Oh, lovely day. And while we talk about things that carry us through and bring us joy, in the mail today came this giant book, this catalog that I'm really excited about. It's the art catalog of the art of the amazing artist Allison Sarr. And I have a poem in the collection, which makes me pretty excited to have my work shared in this space. And so go ahead and look up Allison's work. I think you'd find it pretty phenomenal. But here's the poem that I wrote to accompany her work. Show us what you're made of. As a beginning, I bore another beginning inside. You know this. Even daddy longlegs must also sometimes be mothers. More than once, I have delivered something that was nothing like a human child. I've nursed history. I am built for this, of muscle, circumstance, and bone. Also, tin, blues, breath, blown glass, and boxing gloves. I was once a cabinet, a lighted jewel inside. I am nothing if not also everything. Rope, rubber, worry, soap, and steel. You know this. I am nothing if not all castaway and collected desire. I once bore a human child. Afterwards, I sprouted antlers. I am, after all, nothing but an animal. Picture a long-legged spider crab, improbably gigantic. She can live 100 years or more. This one built of a black cast, bronze, and someone's dreams. Now you are picturing my heart. Or a hooped net, gauzy white, blood-drenched at the bottom edge and draping from ceiling to floor. Inside this, the nest of my ambition. From my head, like a crown, I pushed the afterbirth of fibrous blossoms. From my breasts, roots, and nectar. I am nothing, if not something like a flower. Cotton, creature, comfort, something like a crow. Yes, I am bird. Also, I am badgered woman working this loved lake the levee made spill. When I sleep, my snores lift like wings. When I go dancing, I don the half-light of sorrow for shoes. And one more new poem, and then I'll read a few poems from my books. This piece is actually not particularly new. I wrote it in 2017 in response to the Camp Fire and the Mendocino Complex Fire and several of the fires that were ravaging through California at the time. California is one of the states I call home. Right now, I was hoping that I was going to be able to make this video outside in my garden, but we're having a week of horrible air, and the air quality app that I have on my phone tells me it is very unhealthy outside. And so rather than being outside trying to speak with you through a filtration mask, I'm in my office reading to you instead. But this poem is a poem that I wrote in response to thinking about what it means to live in a place where fires are unfortunately so inevitable and also so horrific. So as I read this, my heart goes out to all of those in California and Oregon and Washington State, as well as right here in Colorado, where 30 miles from us here in Fort Collins, 100,000-acre wildfire burns. This beginning may have also meant this end. Coming from a place where we meandered mornings and met quail, scrub jay, mockingbird. I knew coyote, like everyone else. I knew cactus, knew tumbleweed, lichen on the rocks and pillbugs beneath, rattlers sometimes, the soft smell of sage and the ferment of cactus pear. Coming from this place, from a place where grass might grow greener on the hillside in winter than in any yard, where the whole rest of the year, everything I loved, chaparral pea, bottle brush tree, jacaranda, mariposa, pinyon, and desert oak, the kumquat in the back garden and wisteria vining the porch, the dry grass whispering long after the last rains, raccoons in and out of the hills, trash hurled by the hottest wind, the dry grass tall now and golden, lawn chairs, eucalyptus, everything in a place we knew, everything we knew, little and large, mine and ours, except horror. All of it, everything could flame up that quickly, could flare and be gone. So, speaking of sources and origins, I'll read a poem from my book, Smith Blue, that talks about my vision of the Colorado River, which you may know has its headwaters not very far from us here in Fort Collins inside Rocky Mountain National Park. How she keeps faith. Dream Lake, headwaters of the Colorado. Come to the quiet time, water still in bed, to the rock dissimulated by the rush but still loved. Stone like knees and elbows, like fingers, the skull around eyes, like calves, thighs, and forearms, log long, lying in and resting in the bed. Water moving, a body turning as rock turns, with and against rock. The meadow long meander coming later, the straight surge down mountain coming soon. Here, now, this little time, when rock rests still in her bed, before things are muddied, before the turbulence recalled by walls that they have built, before water must confront the power lust of men and stay or be stayed, move or be moved by some damn will beyond her own. Rock, not with her anymore, but always set against her. Nowhere to run but into the field. Her bed, no more her bed. Remember the first fall. The fall that brought her to this quiet place. Her body a quick curing bruise, first blue, then green, then clear, so flawless veins showed through. She is a sky tear, remembering. She is a cloud curl wrapped around herself. So head heavy, she falls again. And I'll share with you one final poem from Trophic Cascade, my most recent collection of poems. There's so much happening in our lives right now, and so many places that I think poetry may feed us, but also so many spaces that we need to interrogate and investigate as we think about how to keep ourselves safe, how to keep each other safe, and how to show love and care to all those around us. How great the gardens when they thrive. While wrens, one by one, resuscitate their small portion of the light, yellow buses progress, leave their lots. Goodbye, scarlet fever, help for influenza, penicillin, inoculation, the end of women with their children shut up behind placarded doors. Consider the praise songs we might compose to antibiotics, immunization, the identification and near eradication of microscopic organisms that have blinded, maddened, paralyzed, and killed. Yellow as zucchini flowers and in their season as legion, School buses break and collect at standard intervals along the country's subdividing roads. Late summer, the wind trending toward cool. Early fall, the children heading back to school. In the dream, the doctor's dream, no more measles, mumps, rubella. Polio put aside, smallpox persisting only in shelled vials. Loaded up now, shocks dutifully enduring the indignities pocked macadam delivers to attire. Morning buses ferry our small gambles day to day. In 1920, an American woman had less than a 50% chance of seeing all her children reach the age of 10. Late spring, the wind trending toward warm. Early summer, already burning. Lemons, tomatoes, peaches, zucchini. Some crops are like this. Tended correctly, what fruits they produce, if they produce any, will seem to most of us like overwhelming plenty. I want you to stay safe. I hope that you and your family are together in a safe place, or you and your loved ones in safe places, that you're keeping each other safe, that you're wearing your masks, and that we can work together to make a safe space for all of us to go outside and come together again. Thank you so much for your time. Take care.
Wow, another great combination of poetry and music. Thank you, Camille and Breath. And that leads us to our final performer for the night, Boss Eagle. Originally from Harvey, Illinois, the Colorado-based hip-hop artist is carving his path as a bona fide entertainer and entrepreneur. His Billboard charting debut album, the Firebird album, is a reflection of his journey from being just a kid from Chicago to becoming a man forged at altitude in Colorado. The album is deep and reflective, but also fun and smart. Boss Eagle raps about his spirituality in The Vine and Firebird, fighting for your dreams in Dream, and overcoming hardships, Ivan Drago. But also, he uses his rhymes to pay homage to the forefathers and mothers of hip hop in rap dance. His popular ode to the old school hip hop meets Motown track, Baby, demonstrates Boss Eagle's awareness and appreciation of the singers and artists who paved the way for his genre and music to have a place today. There's a sense of pride for his roots and a confident self-awareness about who he is today, albeit not devoid of humor and charisma, strong character traits of this performer. Boss Eagle is currently working on his follow-up album entitled 2AB 42TL, 2AB 4TL, tracks like Somebody's Dad, Denver Ditty, and 2A's have already been well received since Boss Eagle began performing them live. Boss Eagle is a dreamer and a doer. He aspires to encourage others to pursue their passion and purpose, that through his music, people might be inspired to experience the freedom to soar into their own destiny like an eagle, all caps. So let's have a listen to Boss Eagle's work. Doug?
They say they working hard, but they hardly working. No, they need to bring that game up to snuff. Everybody wanna shine like Diddy. Don't nobody wanna work like Puff. I'm coming through, the whole crew coming with me. Your boy Eagle like a diamond in the rough. Everybody wanna shine like Diddy, but don't nobody wanna work like Puff. Let's get it, y'all. Here we go. Come on, if you're in here, you can put your hands together. It's okay. You can put your hands together at home, too. We gonna have some fun. Yeah, yeah, As we proceed to give you what you need. Yo, let's go. Ooh, ego back like Roman. The kid from Colorado, just in case she ain't know me. For Sheezy, keep it breezy like my name E40. It's a better place to be, homie, you gon' have to show me. Forged at a mile high, refined and fire stolen. Dipped up a couple times, trice back like open. This red fire ain't for the weak, little homie. Get your Simba cord ready for the sun or the snowy. Last name Curry, just like the spice. You heard me? If I had to be one, then I guess I'd have to be sporty. Here you go again. Oh no, oh lordy, ain't no limit to this thing. What you know about it, Wardy? Just trying to do my lane, can't nobody do it for me, and I write my own rhymes. Check the ass cap, shorty. They say they working hard, but they hardly working. No, they need to bring that game up to snuff. Everybody wanna shine like Diddy, but don't nobody wanna work like Puff. I'm coming through, the whole crew coming with me. Your boy Eagle like a diamond in the rough. Let me hear you. Everybody wanna shine like Diddy, but I just wanna spit that yoga flame like Dawson. I had this work ethic since I was a small slim. Times in my life when everything looked all grim. Now I rock the Eagle logo north of my ball brim. Get it? Literally started from the bottom, throwing trash in 14. Wasn't racks on racks, but I was flashing. 2 jobs twice in high school, grades I'm mashing, and try to trade it all to hear lights, camera, action. In Old Town, it wasn't on a whim. Calculated, I was trying to hit the stage like a gym. Phoned it in a bit, the dream kept calling. Got a fam in the nest, I went out on the limb trying to bring the game back. Like I was Triple H and them. Dropped the food off just so I could go to H&M. I got a passion for fashion. Somebody call Ye and ask them when the next Grammys we crashing. They say they working hard, but they hardly working. No, they need to bring that game up to snuff. Everybody wanna shine like Diddy, but yo, I'm coming through, the whole crew coming with me. Your boy Eagle like a diamond in the rough. Everybody wanna shine like Diddy, what? Lyrically, I'm not trying to hypnotize you, just wanna give you something to dance and you can ride to. It's paramount that I feel more of these pages, cause my foundation is in them red rocks. Fiddler with the flows, ready for the takeoff like a bluebird. Finesse the game, sly as a fox. Rap is my vein, hip hop my artery. Posted up like Malone, I got my name on the marquee. A big dreamer with an underdog mentality. Just wanna represent, put on for my locality. No matter where I go, Mile High Muchacho be on that last train of Paris, China, back to Colorado. And bring a chip to the city, did it our way. So we can celebrate the nights on Broadway. Asking myself, then I do that like Urkel. Then get ready for the big stage out on Chopper Circle. They say they working hard, but they hardly working. No, they need to bring that game up to snuff. Everybody want to shine like Diddy, but work like Puff. Come on, I'm coming through, the whole crew coming with me. Your boy Eagle like a diamond in the rough. Listen, and I might not ever shine like Diddy, but I'm still gonna work like Puff. Woo! Y'all having fun? What's going on, Denver? Yeah, for the L, 2 A's B, 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 for the L. Yo, yo, yo. It's been so long, I've been stressing. Older me, same reflection. That last album, first impression, well received. Such a blessing. Pressures on, can't fear rejection. No more playtime, school's in session. Got these lyrics stalking me. Now I understand obsession. Sunlight, no fluorescent. Truthfully, I'm second guessing. Can I go a second time, or will I just make a mess and get a hater's cannon fodder? Tell me I should learn my lesson. I'm gon' aim, take my shot, pen and paper, Smith & Wesson. New kid, I'm just trying to get my game tight. Eagle vision locked in and then I take flight. Some gon' turn their nose up, others wish me well. Just don't forget to put those 2 A's before the L. And you know me, I don't care about no limelight. I just wanna make sure they get my name right. Whether the songs flop or they flying off the shelves, just make sure you put those 2 A's before the L. Denver Open Media, how y'all doing tonight? I just wanna say thank you so much for y'all being here. Everybody who's streaming, everybody who's listening on the radio, make sure you stay tuned because we got Right Minded up next. For everybody who's streaming online, thank you so much. You could have been doing anything else with your time tonight, but you chose to tune into this and give us some of your time, so thank you so much. Yo, sometimes I feel so out of touch. One jump rope and a double dutch. New driver trying to pop the clutch. Brand new China in a filthy hutch. People talk a whole lot, they ain't saying much. Jibber jabber all day with the such and such. Everybody on trial, who you trying to judge? And you gon' try to tell me the Bible's a crutch? Well, you might be right, I won't disagree. I done broke both legs running wild and free. And the real funny thing about irony is that I break them every time I come on stage and sing. This was written in the script, I ain't playing to be. The mic and the rhymes they were handed me. Lord, let me be a light to humanity. I think I'm going crazy with my sanity. New kid, I'm just trying to get my game tight. Eagle vision locked in and then I take flight. Some gon' turn their nose up, others wish me well. Just don't forget to put those 2 A's before the L. And you know me, I don't care about no limelight. I just wanna make sure they get my name right. Whether the songs flop or they flying off the shelves, just make sure you put those 2 A's before the L. Denver Open Media, thank you so much. I'm Boss Eagle. God bless. Good night.
Lots of energy and positivity from Boss Eagle there. Thank you so much for joining us this year. Now, just when you thought it couldn't get any better, it's about to, because we have our poets live this evening for a question and answer session. So I'd like to invite the poets to our session, and we also have some questions that are coming up in our Facebook chat that we can ask our poets. And I'd actually like to start with Juan, and Julie on Facebook asks Juan, how does music inspire your writing process?
Wow, cool. Thanks for the question, and I think you should be asking the musicians more. But no, in a past life, I was like in high school, in the first part of college, I was like in this really goofy ska punk band, and I was like the front man, and part of our mission was to constantly get me injured while we would play music, and that's where I kind of started to learn about rhythm, and I got all the cliches out of the way, and then from there, like I kind of discovered I wasn't a musician in that sense, so I focused on the writing and the poetry, and so and that's why I was especially excited to work with Brand, because he's kind of playing like the stuff that I was into when I was younger and still am.
Awesome. Thank you, Juan. Camille, I think I'd like to just have you think about that same question. In your collaboration, what sorts of musical influences do you see in your poetry?
I also trained as a musician for many years in my childhood and early adulthood, and I no longer play those instruments, but I think all of that training about pacing and beat and breath have played into my music or to my poetry. And so then it did feel like that musical collaboration left space for that kind of pacing and music and breath as well. So that was exciting to hear.
Awesome. And Boss Eagle, which came first, the words or the music and the words? How does that work?
The creative process doesn't always allow you to dictate that. Sometimes it's the words first and then you put you put the music to it. Sometimes it's hearing a beat. I work with a producer out of New York, and sometimes it's just listening to the beats, and then a story kind of evolves from there. So you just kind of go with whatever happens with the creative process.
Beautiful. Thank you. Sort of a follow-on question, and we'll go back to you, Juan. Do you see your work and music possibly playing a part in cultural change and social justice?
I think a lot of the newer stuff that I'm writing does, absolutely. And kind of referencing the reading that you all saw, there's a lot of zombies and apocalypse going around, and a lot of people kind of said, like, did you plan this? And no, I didn't. But I think a lot of times, sometimes we want to talk about zombies and horror and apocalypse and pop culture and things like that, and they kind of become entryways into talking about the social issues that we should be talking about. And environmentalism as well, for obvious reasons.
Awesome, thank you, Juan. Camille, I would ask you the same thing. I mean, one of your collections is Journeys into Race, Motherhood, and History, and how do you see your work in that role of cultural change and social justice?
Language is how we formulate our ideas and our understanding of the world, who we are, where we've been, and where we're going. And so as writers, I feel charged to be part of creating that reality and that set of possibilities for who we might become. But as an artist, I have this extra challenge and privilege to be able to make that information gathering and information sharing beautiful, compelling, engaging, and hopefully a little bit thrilling.
Excellent. Boss Eagle, you have a reputation for positivity and spirituality in your music and in your performing. Again, same question. How do you see your role in cultural change and social justice?
Well, I think that's always been something that hip hop has been a part of. You know what I mean? And being able to tell those stories. And it's I think it's one of those things where it's almost like a passing of the torch. Like you mentioned earlier in the bio, I definitely pay homage to the men and women of hip hop and music who went before me. And so it's kind of one of those things, like Camille was saying, is like you feel kind of like it's your charge to either continue that legacy, to continue to tell those stories, continue to raise awareness and bring some of these things that are going on to light. Because we do, as poets, as artists, we have a very special privilege of being able to have the attention of people, whether they're streaming, whether they're watching a show live or whatever. And so when you can have that attention from a person for 40, 45 minutes, 25 minutes, or a 3-minute song, you know what I mean? There's a lot that you can pack in there, and it can be a really impactful time to like I said, to raise awareness for things. And so I think music's always going to have a place. Poetry in all forms is always going to have a place in being able to impact and at least raise awareness of what's going on, socially in our neighborhoods and communities.
Nice, thank you for that. Juan, what are you reading or listening to right now?
I'm kind of, well, no, I'm not embarrassed to admit it. I've been doing some research, and I'm reading a book about chupacabras. That's because I got like a sequence of, I got this whole like tirade about chupacabras and race and things going on with this a sequence of poems. So I'm reading that. I have a few other books, and then I'm rereading Sherwin Bitsui's book Dissolve, because he's amazing. Yeah, I'm teaching There by Tommy Orange, and then I'm reading this book by Eduardo C. Corral called Guillotine as well. So I have a few books in the hopper, and it sounds to me like I need to listen to some more Boss Eagle
Yeah.
in the near future. So I'll stop there.
Yeah, right. That's a full hopper. Camille, where are you at right now in terms of reading and listening?
Oh, I'm always reading. I'm having a lot of fun right now reading a book called Bad Traveler by Suzanne Roberts, since we can't travel. I've been sort of enjoying her thinking about what it means to travel and what it means to be a citizen of the world and a conscious citizen of the world. So that's been an enjoyable thing. I've been reading a lot about plants and animals of the Colorado, especially northern Colorado area. So I'm doing a lot of research about who my neighbors are while I'm living here. And I loved all of those books that Juan is reading right now. I'm really loving Guillotine also. That's a book that's on my pile. So it's an endless list. I'm just kind of always reading. In terms of listening, it was really nice actually tonight to listen to some music. My whole family is in this house, and I feel like things are really, really loud a lot in my life. And so I often find that in times where I would otherwise be listening to music, I just walk around with these earphones with nothing, because I just need a little bit of quiet, which means that when I'm ready, there's probably going to be some really super sonically dissonant, loud, exciting music that I'll be going for. But right now it's quiet.
That seems like a nice future segue into some Boss Eagle. So Boss, how about you? What are you listening to or reading?
Listening to right now. So I'm really into, I like all kinds of other music that's not in my genre. I tend to have an eclectic palette. So it's just kind of a style of like a gritty kind of four to the floor, like Southern, like rock meets LA type feel. There's a band called Oh the Larceny that I'm really into right now. And I created a playlist on Spotify here recently that's it's kind of like got a lot of 90s kind of punk stuff on there. So Vaughn was talking about in the past life being in a punk ska band. So, I've got some Avril Lavigne on there. Just different things like that. Little shout out, some real old school 90s just kind of punk rock stuff. So I'm just like, yeah, I've just been enjoying it lately. So for sure.
Nice. I think we've got time for a couple more questions here. I think this is a question for you, Boss Eagle. Have your writing rhythms? Well, actually, but we'll stay with you, Boss. Have your writing rhythms been affected by the lockdown? And I think that means process and
Sure. Definitely. I think, it's been, everything's kind of gotten affected, schedules changed a little bit and everything like that too. But I'm always, there's always rhymes going on in my head, and I wish I could maybe borrow Camille's headphones sometimes, maybe just to have some silence. No, I'm just kidding. So we have 4 small children, so it's pretty loud around here too. But I think it's kind of gonna be like one of those things where, when we're able to kind of get back out and everything. I mean, I'm still pushing for that second album, and like you saw some of the songs tonight from the second album. So I'm excited to have time once I can kind of figure out my schedule and everything too here and get a little bit more organized to be able to get back into that process and get back started on that and launch that second album, hopefully sooner than later.
Beautiful. Camille, I'm going to go back your way. And again, you were talking about just needing some of the silence, but have your writing rhythms changed and been affected?
Absolutely. I mean, I have to give all praise to the Poudre School District at this point, because their response this semester to how to do education for in the pandemic for the K through 12 system has been really helpful to me. But I still have to wake up really early. I have to wake up every morning about 5:30 or 6 in order to get a solid chunk of writing done before it's time to oversee my daughter and just make sure that she's kind of checked into the class and doing what she is needing to do. She's old enough now that she can kind of get rolling in the day, and I can usually get some things done, but it's pretty interruptible time. And so that's different, right, than it might be in another situation. So, but one of the things about being a writer who writes the world is you have to learn how to be flexible and how to learn how to absorb the realities of the world around you. And so those realities are showing up on the page in kind of some fruitful ways.
Nice. Juan?
Well, I'm a department chair, so my creativity took a pretty big hit because there's a lot of work behind the scenes that kind of riff with the flexibility that we're all discussing, But one of the tricks that I continued to do even before COVID-19 is I always write with my students. We do writing exercises in class, and I write with them. So there's that kind of silence and just hearing the scribble, or in this case, the people with the muted Zoom clacking the keyboards.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that going on. I think it was back in May. Every May, I always do a 30-30. So I write 30 poems for 30 days, and so So I got those done, and and it made some serious progress on the new book. And I think November or December is going to be another 30-30. So we're going to get that damn book done. So pardon my outrage.
Nice. Well, hey, one final question for all three of you, and I'll let you go first, Juan. Can you just give our listeners and watchers an idea of a poet or a performer that you always go back to? Like, who do you take inspiration from and always go back to?
Well, one of my heroes as a poet continues to be Rigoberto Gonzalez, and so I always return to Rigoberto's work. And musically, I'm currently and continue to be obsessed with Shaky Graves. I've been listening to a lot of Shaky Graves lately. So
I'm getting a good list tonight. Camille, how about you?
Well, anybody who knows me knows that the answer has to be the performer who used my own name as his alter ego, which would be Prince. He is the Almighty to me as a performer, a lyricist, a musician, all of that. So I go back to him always and in all ways. And then I usually to that answer say Lucille Clifton, but I feel like it's really important for me at this moment to say the woman who was just granted the Nobel Prize in poetry is also one of my go-to poets, Louise Glick. From the very start of touching her books, I realized that she could synthesize and condense language and thought and ideas in ways that just fire me up every time I open her pages.
Beautiful, thank you. And Boss Eagle.
I would say of kind of contemporary artists, I love Bruno Mars. I love what he brings as far as his live performance, the synchronization between him and his background singers, his instrument players, everything. The guy and he's got a voice like a baby angel or something. And but as cliche as it might sound, Michael Jackson, I think as far for me, growing up, and even now as an adult, I studied guys like the Temptations, James Brown, just those guys who brought a performance. And as a hip hop artist, that's what I wanted to be, was not just go up there and just do the thing, but to leave a to have a performance and to really, you know, have something that would be engaging with the audience. And you probably didn't see as much of that in the videos tonight, but if you check out my YouTube, you'll see some more of those types of things. I have a song that I do where I will wear a full-on custom-made suit, a la The Temptations from 1965, and I actually had that custom made for that song "Baby." And so that's what I like to do, is like to go back to those guys who put on a show and really brought it on stage every night.
Nice. Thank you. Actually, side note, I've seen that suit live twice.
Awesome.
So thank you. Hey, on behalf of the Fort Collins Book Fest, our 5-year celebration, I want to thank all of you for joining us this evening, for taking the time. Juan and Bran and Camille and Greth and Boss Eagle, thank you all so much. Everybody, check out their work, whether it's YouTube, Old Firehouse Books. Continue to tune in. You can also get signed copies of the books by contacting Old Firehouse Bookstore. And again, thank you all. Great work, fun evening, and I look forward to more. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks.